Hello and welcome to Living Blind 101. I'm Suzanne Gibson and today I want to talk about how I do my art even though I am legally blind. I made reference in my intro video that I was an artist, and I know that this is usually the biggest question I get asked about, so I wanted to share when you find out that you are going blind, that does not mean you have to give up everything that you love. I thought that that would be the case when I got the news that this is what was happening to me. I figured my painting days were over. But I went to a museum and saw an exhibit, some work from an artist that I actually really loved, and I didn't know anything about him at the time. And before we left the museum, we found a little room that was showing a video, and it was about a couple of the artists, and one of them was this one. And I found out that he was completely blind, in the absolute dark. He had never painted before he went blind. He was just that angry and wanted to do something that he shouldn't be able to do. And he accomplished it, and it encouraged me so much that I figured with the level of sight that I still had, that I had no excuse, and I went home and figured I had to find a way to do this. So what I did at first was I copied the style that he was working in, which is what you see here. This everything you see here, I worked out all the different shapes of tone, so I didn't worry about obviously reality. And I used a puffy paint, that you get for doing on fabric, and I outlined all of my areas. I think he used something better than that, but I couldn't find what it was that he used. So I worked with this. And so I trap all my areas. And what he would do is that once he had this all drawn out, he was a phenomenal drawer, especially considering that he couldn't see what he was drawing. But he could feel his shapes, and then he could fill them in with color. And it was an amazing thing. I never really thought about it before I saw him talk, but the lighter the paint is, the whiter it is, the thicker it is, the darker it is, the thinner it is. So he could tell how the tone of a color based on the feel of it. But I can see still. I can see my colors. So I was able to choose my colors. I chose them for tone more than color, obviously. But I was able to choose the colors also for mood rather than worry about realism. So, but anyway, this is the style that I worked in for a while. And it helped me immensely, because even though I could see, I had trouble, especially with these two colors. They're so light. This pink here, I don't know if you can tell on camera, this is pink. It is very light, so I would lose the line between the two, between the white and the pink. So I could actually feel it. The other benefit was that I could see the shadow that the texture was casting. Now the next step was that I got this lovely thing here. This is called an acrobat. And I will bring it down into where you can see it better. Well, maybe not too much. But it, as you can see, pivots around. It's on a swing arm. And I have the ability to zoom in to see what I'm doing. So when I got this, the first thing I decided to do was to experiment and see if I could do the same types of things without, this one's big, without the line, the fabric paint edges. So I painted this and some other ones like this. So I was still trapping my tones. And this actually was a photograph. It was not a sunset, but when I chose the colors that I chose for their value, it turned out looking like a sunset. But basically I chose them merely for how dark and light they were and how they played together. But so this would be where I went next, my next step in my journey of painting. And like I said, with that I could zoom in. So if I were going to lose my lines, the pink and the blue here, to me, the tones are so much the same that I could have trouble again losing my edge. So by doing this, Oh, that's the wrong one. Where is that one? All the way. This is what I have to do. Okay, there we go. When I do that with my brush, I actually will move the brush around the canvas until I go, oh, okay. So this right here, I can see now. Whereas if I'm just looking straight at the canvas, I'm going to have a hard time. So this is where I went next, and I was very happy with that. But I still wanted to see how far I could push myself. And eventually, I got to the point where he's way too big to fit on this right now, the way it's set up. We will just put him here. So I got to the point where I could paint in a much more realist fashion. I don't really like realism. I prefer kind of an impressionist style. But I was able, because of this little doodad here, I was able to do whatever I wanted now. So if I wanted to work with the texture, I could. If I didn't want the texture, I didn't have to. There were plenty of things I chose to put some texture on, and I worked with other forms of putting texture on than the fabric paint, sculpting, texture, and things like that. So this is the key for me to being able to still paint. Now, that being said, after a while, I've gotten used to working with my level of vision. I'm not completely blind. Like I said, I have a giant missing spot in my central vision. So I have to use peripheral, which makes it very difficult. But because I'm so comfortable working that way now, I know what's going to happen when I put a certain amount of paint on a certain brush and put a certain amount of pressure down. I know what's going to happen. So sorry about that. I am able to paint fairly well even before I start using this. I always have it on because I might have to refer back to it up and down. I like this version because I had actually tried out the virtual reality thing that you put on your face. That's a little more difficult because I can't see this in real life. So this way I can refer back and forth when it's not covering the monitor. I can refer back and forth from the real painting to my zoomed in. But so a lot of times I'll get to a point where I don't really want the camera, or maybe the camera doesn't pick up. Sometimes the camera doesn't pick up some subtleties between yellows and whites too well. They all look the same. So I have these handy dandy things, and I don't know what the power is on these, but it's you can kind of see how thick they are. I believe that the case had a sticker on it that says something about X20. I don't know. So I will use these on occasion. Now when I put these on, you have to get, let's see, you have to get about here. And see, I can see there's a little bitty thing right there. But so I can get in like this and work real on seeing the actual painting instead of looking at the monitor, because the monitor is great, but it's not perfect. So that's in a nutshell. That's how I paint. It's just, so whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that there's going to be a way to get it done, or a way to adapt it into something that you can do. There are tools out there, and you need to explore and find which ones work for you. Like I said, the virtual reality things, as amazing as they are, I was dumbfounded when I put them on. Just don't work for me for painting. This is my gem right here, and these things are definitely a big factor also. They sat there for a very long time. I thought, I think I got them for paperwork, which was really difficult to do paperwork that close. But I pulled them out one day when I was having some kind of issue, and I found out how they actually are very helpful with my painting. And I will take these if I'm going to be doing something not at home, where I don't want to take, I can take this unit with me. My husband is a doll, and he built this thing on a cart that moves, so we can take it with us. But if I'm doing something that I don't think I need that, and I don't want to take it, I will take these, so I can still at least get very up close and see. So that's it. That's all the key is to my being able to still paint, is getting the right tools. So whatever it is that you are interested in doing, I just encourage you to get out there and explore what there is. Do some Google searches, find out what's available, and just start trying to play around. If you can get yourself a low vision optometrist, that was how I found I didn't know these things existed. And the low vision optometrist is a specialist who will help you figure out what kind of devices that you need for whatever it is that you want to do. These things might not work for you, although the Acrobat, and there is one that is not on a swing arm, so if you do something that isn't, I work large, if you do something smaller, jewelry work or something, you can get one that's a much smaller unit, that doesn't pivot and move like this one does. This one, like you can see, it can move all over the place. But like I said, lots and lots of different tools. Find the one that works for you. Just don't give up on what it is you love. Until next time, I'm Suzanne Gibson. This is Living Blind 101. God bless.